What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Fight Day MMA Show. I am your host, Kayla Nero, and I am here with the Pick'em King, Kanan Sonye. So, again, this week, guys, Kanan got me again. We picked all the same except the main event, and it came down real close in the main event, so I can't say that I'm too upset. I picked the underdog, though. At least I'll say that. I picked Darren Till to win this main event, but Robert Whittaker ended up pulling it out with some late takedowns and stuff, but we'll get to that later on whenever we start talking about the main event. So, yeah, guys, big things coming for the show real soon. We want to, again, say thank you to all you guys who continue to tune in and check out the content. And we're bringing you another video now, and we'll keep continuing to bring you guys as much content as we can, and potentially some big fighter news coming soon on having some potentially bigger name fighters coming on the show and potentially doing like a pre-fight analysis with us. So, yeah, big news coming, guys. So y'all be up for that. And, yeah, just stay tuned, guys. So, getting into the card, again, this is a non-pay-per-view card, so we only did the main event, which the main card. And the main card was 7 fights this week, so y'all got a good-sized pre-fight analysis, and now you're going to get a good-sized post-fight analysis. So, for the first fight, we had Hamzat – I still can't pronounce his name. I know the K is silent like Habib. So, it's Hamzat Chimaev versus Rhys McKee. And I mean, that was a beat down if I've ever seen one. I'm gonna let Kanan take this one.
Man, all I gotta say is holy Hamza Chimaev. That man is quickly making his name known around the UFC world. So about 11 days now since his UFC debut, he's 2-0. He's only been hit in the UFC twice. He's landed 192 punches in those 2 fights compared to 2. So I like those odds if I'm fighting or if I'm betting on somebody to fight. He's hit 2 people 192 times combined and been hit twice. This past fight against McKee, his UFC debut, that was not who he wanted to fight against. I mean, he came in on about 10 days notice, but Khamzat is making himself known. He took him down early and it just wore on him. I want to say it was 68-0 strike-wise in that first round before he got called TKO. So in 2 fights, and you said in the first one, he fought out of his weight class, right?
He fought at 185. He's normally at 70.
So, yeah, he finally showed us at 70. He didn't even get hit. So, I mean, 2 finishes in about 11 days. He's making himself known. His wrestling that's some Russian wrestling right there.
That was crazy, man. He picked him up and carried him to his corner so he can get corner advice. Just grabbed the guy. Now, I will say Rhys McKee is normally a 55er, and recently he's moved up to 70. And he's had a few fights at 70. He's looked well at 70. He's a long, rangy guy. They're both 6'2". But McKee is normally a 55er, and so I can see him in his next few fights in the UFC going back to 55. Because those guys at 70, man, they're strong. If you think about the guys at the top, Kobe, Kamaru, Woodley, even Masvidal, these guys are all really, really strong wrestlers. So if McKee can't – Chimaev is a really, really good wrestler, and I'm sure he's on par with those guys at the top of the division, and we'll see that soon. But still, if you get manhandled like that by a guy early on, I say maybe you cut that weight, buddy, and go handle some people who are about your strength level,
Higher wrestling coach.
Right. Or, I mean, I'm sure he did a good job using, like, kind of shrimping out and trying to regain half guard as much as he could. He did a good job trying to defend himself. But there's only so much you can do when you have a guy who's that smothering. And Chimaev's very Khabib-esque in his approach. He's really relentless for the takedown, but you really didn't have to be too much because he just got him down with the first attempt. But his ground and pound was better to me than what Khabib normally does. Khabib likes to use the shoulder pressure and the head pressure and force you down and really just kind of beat like body, head, just classic body, head, always. He'll sit in your half guard, body, head. He'll sit there and wear you down. Or Chimaev's looking for the finish. Chimaev literally fights for mount. He gets mount, and he's punching like continuously. He's not body, head, kind of shoulder pressure you, wear you out, body, head. Khabib's looking to dominate you for 5 rounds, where Chimaev's looking to finish you. Obviously, I think Khabib's obviously higher credentials right now. But, man, I think if Chimaev can work his way up to the top of the 70 division, win a title, that would be a hell of a fight to watch, to see Khabib and him go at it. I think he's a little too big for Khabib, but we'll have to see.
I'm interested to see Chimaev's full stand-up ability because we've seen his ground game. His ground game is amazing.
Right.
But I'm interested to see his full stand-up. I mean, his last fight, he threw a kick and then he went straight for a takedown, which was nice. But I'm interested to see more in depth on his stand-up when he can't get a takedown. Because like you said, those higher guys in this division, they're
They're good
wrestlers.
everywhere.
They're
They're
good
good
wrestlers.
everywhere.
Usman, Colby, good wrestlers.
Right.
Hermanson,
Manson.
Hermanson.
No, Hermanson's in the 85s.
Oh, right. And I'm looking for
But I mean, if
Kamaev
you think
to
about it,
get a top
you have
15 opponent.
Woodley, Covington, Burns can grapple. All these guys at the top of the 70 division, it's going to be hard to grapple, so he's going to have to make sure he's real well-rounded. Now, one good thing I will say about Khamzat is he's from Chechnya, so he's from the Chechen Republic right next to Dagestan. It's basically the same thing. All from the Caucasus Mountains, all hard mountain people. He wants to smash everybody, like he said. But the one good thing I will say is he's not training in Dagestan. So he's already had that in that Eagle MMA gym that all those guys from that area are typically training in. He is now in Sweden with Alexander Gustafsson camp. So he's wrestling with Ilir Latifi. So not only is he bringing that Sambo style wrestling from the Chechen Republic, but now he's able to go in and get some like Greco-Roman wrestling with Ilir Latifi and learn more wrestling styles that potentially can kind of give him an advantage in some grappling exchanges to have both backgrounds. But he's also sitting there and he's boxing with Gustafsson. So he's definitely going to improve his stand-up game. So that's one thing to look forward to. As long as he continues on this path and he continues to try and improve his stand-up game, because there's going to come to a point where it's going to be someone he's not going to be able to take down, and he needs to make sure that he can stand and bang with him. Habib learned that lesson very early on in his career against Gleison Tibau, whenever he attempted like 24 takedowns and couldn't get one. And he realized and he ended up pulling off the win in the fight, which some people think that he lost that fight. But he had to realize that, hey, I kind of need to get a more well-rounded approach to my game here, or I could be in big trouble. And I mean, he showed that he's kind of developed it a little bit. I know Conor was looking for watching for the takedown, so that kind of allowed the shot to come in, but he was able to drop Conor, So
yeah, I agree with you, and I'm interested to see him. I'm really hoping that the UFC doesn't try to push him too.
I hope they don't do what they did to Darren Till.
Yeah, I really hope they do that because I think he has a bright future, and I think he can do a lot in the UFC, and I think he's going to be ranked soon. I think he's going to get a ranked opponent next.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him fighting next month. He hasn't taken any damage. He's fresh. He's in shape. If I was him, I'd want to fight again next month.
Paycheck.
Not only that, I hadn't gotten hit really at all, and I'm in shape. So why get fat to have to get back in shape?
Yeah.
Again, if I'm in shape and I'm not taking any damage, I'm good to go,
You know what, UFC? Put him on that DC card if somebody falls out, please. I want to watch it.
Yeah, I enjoy watching him, and he's spectacular. All righty, on to the next fight. So we had Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Peter Sabata. Oliveira did exactly what I expected him to do. He actually looked really, really sharp. This might have been the best Oliveira we've seen in a long, long time. He did a very good job using the body kick, kind of keeping Sabata at range like I said he needed to do. I figured Oliveira would have the advantage of the ground, but like we said, normally whenever you have two really good grapplers, typically it stays on the feet. Covington, Usman is a prime example of that. Two really good wrestlers, two really good grapplers. They stay on the feet and just box it out. Oliveira did a good job with the push kick, did a real good job with the body kick. He stayed long. He just showed that he was the more well-rounded fighter. They talked a lot about Sabata's preparation in the fight, with having his boxing coach come and stay and live with him. But I mean, man, we really didn't get to see the boxing range because Oliveira did such a good job of keeping him at range with the body kick. I can't sing that praise enough. Oliveira did a good job controlling the first round and getting a good read on him, and then ended up dropping him in the second round, going up 2-0. And I think Oliveira won all three rounds. Personally, for me, he controlled the fight the whole way around. It was a real high-paced fight, but he was just too much,
I do agree with you. I think he was definitely a more well-rounded fighter, which, again, we predicted before this fight. All the judges had it 3-0 for Oliveira. And, man, he started working the body. He caught him in the body early, and he realized that was his target. Like, he needed to wear it on that body because it was doing good damage. And I don't think that Sabata was blocking it well enough for Oliveira to go away from it. So that looked like his primary target for a while. And then when Sabata finally started to block his body a little better. And that's when he got hit with that right hand. In the second, he got dropped.
All right.
He cruised in the third, and he was just overwhelmingly too much for Sabata.
Right. I mean, that's what's going to happen to you, man. Especially if someone keeps working your body, you're going to have to drop your hands eventually. Then it opens you up for the headshot, you know. And it's always a shot you don't see that gets you. And that's exactly what happened to Sabata. He was expecting for him to go low. He dropped his hands, and he didn't see the shot, and he got dropped. But again, Sabata still. I mean, I really don't know where he goes from here. Get another unranked guy. Oliveira showed that he's ready, and they talked a lot about him having some problems outside of the cage with family issues and partying and being a little egotistical when it came to the fame and stuff like that. So I think now he definitely looked a lot more focused in this fight. I will say that. So I think now he's going to kind of try and get back on the right track. I don't see any major title pushes or anything anytime soon, but I definitely think we see him get a top 15 guy in his next fight and hopefully get back to that place of being a gatekeeper again rather than just being someone who's on the downfall. So for the next fight, we had Paul Craig versus Antigulov. I'm not going to pronounce his first name just because it's way too complicated for me to try and pronounce it. We knew both of these guys were really good grapplers coming in. Antigulov was a Dagestani guy. He's an older guy, but from Dagestan, you can wrestle almost guaranteed. And Paul Craig, we knew was a very good jiu-jitsu guy with 11 of his 12 wins, or now 12 of his 13 wins coming by submission. It started off kind of how I expected it to, with Antigulov being very, very much the pressure fighter, and he was able to get Paul Craig down. But then the jiu-jitsu kicked in, and I think this is where I kind of expected Antigulov to have some deficiencies in his ground game would be with the submission defense. And he was trying so hard to go for the shoulder pressure against a really high guy like that with Paul Craig, and he didn't keep his hands on the chest, and he let his hands hit the ground, and Paul was able to take advantage of that and lock in the triangle, and after that, it was just over. It was just slow adjustments by Paul Craig to get it to the point to where he had to make him tap out. And, I mean, he triangled him in the first 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And I believe this fight was at light heavyweight. And I want to say Paul Craig is, like, one of the only light heavyweights to ever get it. Like, he's the only one in history to have, like, 3 or 4 triangle chokes at that weight division. So, good for him, man.
I mean, man, we knew coming in that Antigulov didn't want to stand. He's been knocked out his last 2 fights. We knew also they were both good wrestlers, both good jiu-jitsu guys. They have a lot of submissions on their records. And I wasn't as surprised that he went for the takedown. I mean, I was a little that he did it that quickly and didn't want to test it. But he went for the takedown and he got it. But as soon as they hit the ground, you could see Craig's mind start turning. You could see that he was looking for every possible submission he could get. And when he locked up that triangle, it was just about instant that Antigulov was tapping.
Right.
Like, you could tell it was tight, and it was definitely a nasty triangle choke. It was definitely great jiu-jitsu.
It made me a little nervous at first because Antigulov was doing a good job with the elbow to try and get some air in there, you know, really trying to separate the legs. And Paul really only had his calf on his foot. But I mean, like I said, he made those slight minor adjustments and slowly worked that foot into the knee, slowly worked his knee to that foot. And once he was able to get it together, it was.
I mean, he just sat there and picked away until it finally went, and then It was over.
And when Antigulov didn't do a very good job of trying to shoulder his way out. He kind of pushed forward into it, and that's the last thing you really want to do in a triangle choke. But I mean, I think all he knew was that pressure, you know. And I mean, Paul's a big guy. It's not a guy you're gonna be able to pick up and just slam him off of you with the triangle. Once he gets it,
pressure hurt him right there.
Yep. All right. So this fight was a fight that me and Kanan both got wrong.
I didn't agree with it.
I agreed with the decision, but I hated that I agreed with the decision, if you know what I mean. So this fight was Marina Rodriguez versus Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza got the win by split decision yet again. And she handed Rodriguez her first loss as a professional. Carla didn't want anything to do with her on the feet, which I don't blame her. Marina was sharp on the feet. Carla was able to take her down 5 out of the 9 times in the fight. And she did a good job of keeping the pressure and using some of the ground and pound. But believe it or not, the bigger strikes came from Rodriguez off her back. And she did go for some submission attempts, which I think that hurt her in the long run. I think she tried too many submission attempts from her back, and that kept her on the ground longer and gave Carla more ground control time, which ultimately ended up influencing the decision to give it to Carla. And I agree with it just off of the basis that we do need to count takedowns and ground control time. But if you look at them after the fight and you say these two girls got in a bar fight, who you think won? 100 people out of 100 people would say Marina Rodriguez won that fight because Carla Esparza had a freaking softball underneath her right or her left eye.
I think it was above it.
It was here. It was on top of the eyebrow and inside the eye, inside the eyelid. And it was from a slicing elbow that Rodriguez hit her from off her back. It was very Tony Ferguson-esque, you know? Tony's a guy who likes to sit off his back, and he'll do a lot of damage off of his back. Even Conor McGregor kind of did a very similar thing against Chad Mendes, splitting Chad Mendes' head open with those down. It was almost a 12-6 elbow, except he wasn't up and down. He was kind of going forward. He cocked back and he hit Chad on the head with it. But Marina was able to kind of use Carla's forward pressure against her, and she would use that slicing elbow coming down. She'd pull her head down and really slice her across the eye. She was able to bust her up real good with that, man. And for a while, I thought that they were going to stop the fight, but they didn't. They didn't stop to check it out, man. But that was worse than the Nate Diaz cut against Jorge Masvidal, and they stopped that fight. So it sucks for Rodriguez because I believe she did do more damage, and I believe that she could have definitely been given the decision had the judges seen it as we're going to judge it based off of who did more, even though that she didn't have the ground control time. But again, it all depends on who we have judging, and I think we need to modify our judging system, modify who we have judging the fights. This old, and I kind of sound like Joe Rogan here, this old system where we're using the old boxing unified rules to judge MMA fights just doesn't work. We're not just punching people in the body or in the head. We got people kicking each other in the legs, stomping each other's toes, punching each other in the throat, not really, and choking each other out and taking them down. And sometimes these people take them down and the guy pops back up and absolutely nothing was done. So we need to kind of decide on how that's scored, you know? So Carla wins by the way the rule set is, and I'll agree with that. But if I'm looking at who I think won that fight, like if this fight happened on the street, I say Marina Rodriguez won the fight.
I firmly agree. I think Rodriguez did enough to win that fight. I thought she won the fight. Everybody I was with thought she won the fight. Carla came in, went straight to her wrestling. She wanted no part of the stand-up. And for a while there, I believe she didn't want any part of the ground game because she was getting hit with those elbows repeatedly. She got busted in the first round. They were looking at her eye after the first round, between the first and second round. They were looking at her eye. The announcers announced that the doctor came in and was looking at the eye to see if it needed to be stopped. But he let him continue, and Carla took her down again, but she was still getting busted up on the ground, man. I want to say Carla went for a submission at the end of the second round, and then Rodriguez got out, ended up on top, and was just busting her up. I think Rodriguez did enough to win this fight. I see why they give it to Carla. I think Rodriguez won this fight and did enough to win the fight.
Right.
But she needs to go back to camp and work on that takedown defense.
Right.
That is the biggest key right here. She can stand up. She works well from her back, as you saw with those elbows. But she needs to go back to the drawing board, takedown defense, because that's why she lost that fight.
And that was the thing I saw a lot while watching the fight, and it really made me upset. She was really good with her hips. She was really good at retaining her guard. She was really good at being mobile on her back. So, like I said, she was a little too complacent trying to go for the submissions off of her back for the few that she did go for, and she was too complacent from doing damage off of her back. And that's been a downfall for Tony Ferguson as well. He almost got himself finished in the first round by Kevin Lee doing that whenever he fought Kevin Lee for the interim title. I felt that Marina's so good with her hips and good. She is a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. You know, she's a good jiu-jitsu player. All she needs to do is just kind of use her hips and get herself to the cage and walk up the cage, and she'll be able to get up. There was too many times where she was 2 or 3 feet off the cage and would just be complacent with sitting there in the middle of the octagon rather than trying to get to the cage to where she can at least try and prevent Carla from moving in one direction. At the minimum, that's what it does. If you can't walk yourself up on the cage, at least it kind of prevents them from being able to advance position. You know, if you can get your back up against the cage, they can't take your back. You know what I'm saying? So there's some things that I felt that she could have did a lot better. But I think she was just a little too complacent where she was, and she was happy to fight there, which I don't blame her. I mean, she did do damage, but I think that's more on her coaches. Her coaches should have really been a little more aggressive with the fact that she needed to not be complacent on the ground. She really needed to get up and try and make it back a standing fight.
And I just want to say that this was a split decision. One of these judges gave all 3 rounds to Carla, and I was very disappointed.
Yeah, I saw that too. That I really wanted to put out a tweet on that and say, this is why we need new judges in MMA. It's terrible. There's no way anyone can watch that fight and say that Carla won more than 2 rounds.
Won hands down every round, won the fight completely.
Right. There's no way. Man, we started doing bad towards the end of the card, man. I'm starting to get nervous a little bit, you know.
Well, I mean, you started doing bad because you went 1 for 4. I went not 1 for 4. I went.
That was last week, man. We're not talking about last week.
I'm talking about the last 3 fights. You went 1 for 3. I went 2 and 2. So you started to do bad. I had the little 2 losing streak, and then I was good.
Hey, I picked Ruud. I picked Tua to beat Nogueira.
That was your 1 for 3 at the last 4.
Oh, so I went, yeah. Good thing we had 7 fights in this card, man. It makes me look a little bit better, you know? If not, I'd have picked all wrong almost.
Bro, I started hot. We was 3-0 to start. And I was
I know you texted me. I was like, man, he's about to jinx us, man. We're about to lose some fights here.
I was with Dustin, and then this next fight is where it really kicked off. He was betting on Gustafsson and
I can't listen. I might have to talk to DP, man. I'm going to tell him I can't listen to his picks anymore. He got me 0 for 2, man.
Bruh.
So then our next fight, we had Alexander Gustafsson versus Fabricio Verdum.
Wait, pause real quick. I want to say about everybody had Gus winning this fight. So that had nothing to do with his pick. I want to say everybody had Gus in this fight. This was a big disappointment. I was very disappointed in this.
Man, Fabricio said this was the last fight on his contract, man. And it's not looking like he's going to re-sign with the UFC too, man. That's something that definitely needs to be talked about. But yeah, so this one ended with an armbar in the first round. We all knew Fabricio was an amazing jiu-jitsu player. You know, we all knew Fabricio is the best jiu-jitsu guy ever in the heavyweight division. He tapped out Fedor. He's tapped out multiple people. He finished Cain Velasquez. He's definitely still a dominant heavyweight. But, I mean, in his last fight, what a lot of people didn't notice, and especially what I didn't notice and I didn't think about, is whenever he came in to fight Alexei Oleinik, he weighed in at 260 pounds. And like I said, he looked soft. He looked slow and soft. Well, whenever he fought Cain and won the title, he was 241 pounds. And, he came in against Gus at 242, so he came back in shape. What I think had happened with him in the last fight is he had just come back over that 2-year USADA layoff, and he just wasn't in shape for the fight. He looked slow against Oleinik, and he got busted up. And Oleinik's good enough on the ground, and Oleinik's the boa constrictor. You know, he's a good enough jiu-jitsu player as well to kind of keep Fabricio nullified on the ground. Whereas Gus, we knew if it got to a jiu-jitsu fight, then Fabricio would definitely have the advantage. But we figured Gus's takedown defense would be good enough in order to keep Fabricio off of him. And he did a good job at first, but he turned into the body lock, and then he tripped. And the second Fabricio Verdum is on your back, I don't care who you are. You are in deep shit. Like, you just can't give up your back against a 5th degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt like Verdum, a 2-time Abu Dhabi world champion in Jiu-Jitsu, you know? So, and I mean, I'm going to take this quote from Chael Sonnen. I kind of watched Chael Sonnen's breakdown of this fight. Chael Sonnen said, if you want to learn how to do an armbar, go back and just watch this fight. It's almost in slow motion. Verdum literally shows you how to take the back, work for the armbar, break the grip, and extend the arm. Gus knew he can try that grip, try to keep his hands together, try to keep Fabricio from getting that arm out. But the second he extended the arm, Gus tapped. Gus didn't try to roll out of it. Gus didn't try to get away. With Fabricio, it's not going to happen, especially early on in the fight. I mean, you're 2 minutes in. No one's really sweating yet. You're nice and dry. Fabricio has a good grip. And just about over. So, yeah, man, it definitely shocked me a little bit on the fact that I thought Gus was definitely going to be good enough to keep Fabricio off of him and stay on the feet and really box him up like I predicted, where he'd box him up and finish him in the second or third round. But he was able to take him down. So, I mean, I kind of predicted that as well. I said if he is able to get him down, then it is going to be a problem. I just didn't think it would be possible. And, man, I was wrong. I mean, that's all I can say.
Man, Verdum shocked. I want to say he shocked the world last night because I had Gus. You had Gus. Everybody I knew had Gus last night. And the fight started off with a good little trade-off. Gus landed about 14 strikes before the takedown happened. But Verdum went for that takedown, and it was a good scramble for a while. Gus was throwing hammer fists behind him. It was a good little scramble for a little while. But the second Verdum got his back, I just was like, oh, my goodness, please no. And then the second he got his back, he went for that arm. He had the arm and just prying it off the lock, slow and steady. And I was just sitting there highly disappointed. I was like, man. And for my vision of Gus coming back was Gus retired because like he fell in love with it, and him coming back was like him realizing like he missed something. This was something that was a part of him for a long time, and he missed it. And he was coming back stronger than ever. But it was also brought to my attention that this might have just been a money ploy, which I mean I would fully understand. Like, you kind of on rough times. You can always go back and fight and make a lot of money.
Yeah, but Gus, I feel like Gus has made enough money in his career that he really wouldn't need to do that.
But he's never been a champion. The championship is where you get paid.
I know, but I mean, he's fought in a lot of main event. I can't tell you the last time Gus fought not in the main event. This might have been the first time Gus hasn't fought in the main event in forever.
I just looking at it and watching that fight and just watching Gus, I feel like it's a possibility.
I mean, he came in, he was 240 pounds, but he had a six-pack, dude. I mean, he looked good for being a heavyweight.
Oh, I noticed he looked good, but, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a possibility because I feel like he would have came in a lot more, I don't know. Just the way he fought and the way he just –
I think he looked at the way he fought Oleinik coming off of the USADA suspension, and he thought Fabricio was soft because those tainted supplements were real tainted supplements. And so I think he thought he was going to come in there. He was going to be too fast for Fabricio, and Fabricio wouldn't be able to take him down. And I don't think he worked his wrestling enough, man. I really don't. I think he worked his boxing a lot.
Complacent.
And he got complacent and thought, this man can't take me down. He's not fast enough. He won't be able to get to me because he was slow in his last fight. He wasn't slow against Gus.
Everybody was fully expecting Gus to be able to run around that cage the whole night.
Do what he did to John. Do what he did to John both times they fought. Just kind of get on his bike and go.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys. Sorry about that one. I mean, what can you say?
I mean, everybody was wrong on that one for the most part.
Yep. For our co-main event, we had Mauricio Shogun Rua versus Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. I think I'm pronouncing his middle name right. Lil Nog, if you want to be calling them by their nicknames. But, yeah, man, this was definitely a battle, man. And Lil Nog surprising, man. He showed he still had a chin on him. And he was landing some big shots, man, which was surprising. So it was definitely a scrap. I definitely had Shogun winning the fights. And Shogun does finish it off the legendary trilogy 3-0. But the crazy thing was I thought Shogun would run the show on the feet and Nogueira would run the show if he got to the ground. But it was completely opposite. Shogun was able to work the leg kicks and the body kicks a little bit, and his leg kicks were really effective. But when it came to the hands, Nogueira was piecing Shogun up, and Shogun was able to take him down and kind of work that old school body head, work from the guard, just get ground control time, and that's how he was really able to win the fight. But, I mean, it was completely – I picked correctly, but it was completely opposite of what I expected. I expected Lil Nog to try and get the takedowns and try and control the ground game, and Shogun to stand up and piece Lil Nog up. It was completely opposite, man, and it was still a good scrap, man. That could have been my fight of the night, honestly.
You said that Lil Nog came in and showed he still had a chin. Shogun showed he still had a chin.
That too.
Shogun was eating them shots in the second round. First round and second round. Shogun was eating them. Whenever he would get in a dangerous situation, he would take Lil Nog down. That's what you noticed. He would take him down in those scary situations. And that's what won him the fight. Them leg kicks and the takedowns are the reason he won that fight. He was never dropped, which is the reason why he didn't lose the fight. But those leg kicks and the takedowns were the reason he won the fight. Every time he got in trouble, he was shooting for a takedown, and he landed them. First round, in the last round, he got those big takedowns that won him the fight. It ended up being a split decision, which is closer than the last two where they're both unanimous. But I think it was a really close fight.
Oh,
And
either guy could have won, and I wouldn't have been upset.
oh
That's
yeah,
for sure.
it was a great fight. It was a battle of legends. I think it was Little Nog's last fight of his career,
Hmm.
and it was definitely a way to go out, bro. He went out on his shield and just was brawling.
Like I said, that could have been my fight of the night. And I would have not been upset at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
Not at all. I mean, like I said, guys, good showcase of two old guys that really encompassed the first true form of real MMA fighters where they were good everywhere. Those were the first guys to really be that way, where now we have these guys coming in like Edmund Shabazian, Kamaru Usman, these guys who come in and show that they're good everywhere. Gilbert Burns. These were the original versions of those guys, you know?
I want to say these are the last like true pride guys that we have left.
Yeah, man. I mean, Dan Henderson's gone. Vanderlei's gone. Vitor's gone.
And this is the end. Pride. This is literally was like the last fight.
Pride never
Like
die, man.
This
Pride
is
never
like
die.
literally like the last fight of like the Pride era. I feel. This is like
Alistair's still fighting. So Alistair's, I think, the last guy that's ever really fought in Pride.
but this
But
is gonna be the last one
Alistair
between-
fought at middleweight in Pride.
This would be the last one between two like Pride guys though.
Yeah, it's crazy. A bunch of legends have come and gone, man, and it's at the point now where it's almost a whole new generation. And once Daniel retires, I mean, it's gonna really be nothing but
bro.
new school.
But I'm excited. Those new school guys are bringing some crazy skill, man.
Yep. All righty, guys, and now we are on to our main event of the evening. Yeah, no one can do it like Bruce Buffer, man. That Joe Martinez guy,
Slaps.
he was trying, man. He was trying, but he was in there and he was like, "Are you ready?" Like to the fans, and there's no fans.
See, that's what I'm not ready though. I'm not ready for when Bruce retires because I'm not gonna know what to expect that first time somebody else walks up there and tries to get all loud with me, and I'm not gonna like it. And if I don't like it, then I might just mute it that one part where he starts screaming.
Hey, you know, DC and Dustin, right? I got a loud voice, guys. I know I sound like a Cajun, but I can work on that. Tell Dana White to call me. I want a bunch of nice suits like Bruce Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble.
Bro, I'll judge the fights.
Yeah, that too. We can work for you can work for the Louisiana State Athletic Commission and be able to do that if they ever bring fights back to New Orleans, Uncle Dana. But yeah. So in our main event, we had Robert Bobby Knuckles Whittaker, who's one of my favorite fighters, versus Darren the Gorilla Till, who is also another one of my favorite fighters. So I did have a tough time picking this fight. And I went with my gut and said, Darren Till's been looking real good at middleweight, even though he only had one fight, but he looked big, he looked strong, he looked fast. And I wasn't wrong for picking him, man. I think both guys could have definitely won this fight. I think the judges got it right. I don't think anybody was a loser, though. I think Till's stock still goes up after this fight. I know Till definitely got his knee blown out in the second round by Rob's kick, that weird oblique kick that John Jones made famous. And now Darren Till did it to Stephen Thompson, and now he's gotten the payback, and now he says he wants it banned, which I don't blame him, dude. That shit definitely has to hurt, getting your knee pushed backwards like that, hyperextending your knee. But yeah, man, Darren Till came out and just freaking dropped Whittaker in the first round with a nice elbow, man. But then Whittaker returned it back in the second round, dropped him. Third round was real close. I think Whittaker did more. He definitely was the volume guy. I think Till landed the harder shots for the most part, but Whittaker definitely landed a lot more shots. So I definitely gave Whittaker the third. Fourth round, I know Whittaker outstruck Till, but Till had the really only significant moment in that round where he rocked him. I felt he could have been a little bit more aggressive to go and trying to seek the finish there, which he said that he needed to do anyway coming into this fight. He did show it a little bit more in the first round, being a little more aggressive because he wasn't very aggressive in the Gastelum fight. And then in the fifth round, I had Till winning the round until the end of the round. Now, he did crack Whittaker with a big-ass elbow, and he split him wide-ass open. And I think and Herb Dean was looking at it, man, with like 15 seconds left. It looked like Herb was going to step in to get that cut checked. I think if they'd have checked that cut, they might have stopped the fight because that cut was terrible. He was still leaking after the cut man worked on him whenever they were given the official decision. However, he got the two late takedowns despite the cut. He did a good veteran move like the announcers called out by hiding that cut by getting in the clinch and being able to take him down. And he did it 2 times. I know he didn't hold him down or really do any much control, but with a round that didn't have much significance in it, that was the most significant moments in the round were the 2 takedowns. So I had to give that fifth and final round to Whittaker. So I'm okay with the 48-47 decision, but I would have been okay if the 48-47 decision was given to Till as well, just because of that slicing elbow in the last round. And those takedowns really didn't do much because Till was instantly back up on his feet. However, I agree with the decision. I think any guy could have won it, but I do think if I was judging, I would have gave that score as well, 48-47 for Whittaker. So, yeah, guys, this is where I lost to Kanan because I picked the underdog, Darren Till, coming in, fighting Bobby Knuckles, who was the former champ and all this stuff. So y'all can give me shit and give me all this crap about it. But it's all right. We're going to shake back next week, and Darren Till's going to be a champion one day.
Said that last week.
I did shake back, man. I only got one wrong. I only lost to you by 1 this time. I lost to you by 3 last week. So look, I'm making ground up, man.
That's because we picked all the same stuff until then.
Yeah, that's your fault. I made my picks first. All right.
No, you didn't.
I lie. I don't know.
I did the pre-fight for that.
Yeah, but I still picked off of who I thought was gonna win.
So man, I had it 3-2 Robert Whittaker, and at the end of this fight, I texted Nero. I say, "Crown me, give me my crown." Because it's mine. It's been chilling here for a while now.
We're going to have to make a belt.
It don't miss Nero at all. So,
maybe we can get The Rock to put it on us too, man.
Bruh, that'd be crazy, but that's never going to happen.
I mean, you never know. You guys keep sharing the dang videos and the YouTube and stuff, man. So
we're trying to get The Rock to put a belt on us.
Yes. Yes, you guys are slacking.
So, man, Darren Till came out. Darren Kill Till, bro. That'd be a great name.
That'd be a better nickname than the Gorilla. He's not the Gorilla anymore. He's just a normal sized guy at 85.
Man, Darren Till came out and really made Robert Whittaker respect him in that first round. He was throwing. And he was hitting. He made Whittaker respect his power and respect his hands. And that first round was Till's all the way. In the second round, though, it was a complete 180. Whittaker came out, dropped him, and got on top and ground and pounded him the whole round. I don't want to say it was a 40-6 that round in striking or around there. It was a huge
34 I think it was like 34 to like 8.
No,
I want to say
Whittaker definitely had 40.
No, I'm saying like almost at the end of the round, the last number I saw was like 34-8.
Well, I know he hit 40, and it was like 40 to a single digit. It was hugely lopsided. You knew Whittaker won that round. Mm-hmm. Third round was close. What I thought Whittaker did more damage. He had more volume, and Whittaker won that round 2-1. Whittaker. Fourth round, Till came out and hurt him, but he, like Nero said, he never pressured. He never really capitalized on hurting him, and Whittaker was able to recover and keep the round close. But Till ended up winning that round. So going into the fifth and final round, 2-2, whoever wanted more, and Till came out on fire, but he slowed down and allowed Whittaker to get back into control, and that's when Till cut him. And Whittaker, like you said, hit that cut well. And so, because that thing was gushing. His whole left side of his body was covered in blood after that started. I was like, I didn't know what happened. I thought his ear was busted. I thought his
cauliflower had busted.
That's what we all thought. We all thought his cauliflower ear had busted.
But he cut him on the side of the head.
Oh, it was like somewhere right here. But
yeah,
when he caught him, I was like, what? Because it came out of nowhere. And he caught him on top of his head, on the side of his head, and he's just gushing. And I'm like, oh, goodness. Don't tell me Whittaker about to lose this fight.
And Herb was looking at it hard, man. I was expecting Herb to step in for a second because he was bleeding everywhere.
Well, Whittaker fought back from it and continued to capitalize with 2 takedowns to secure that round and the victory.
Yeah, Whittaker just showed that he's a champion, man. And he said it in his post-fight interview. He's like, I'm a champion with or without the belt. And I agree with him, man. He really showed that he was a champion there because in the tough fight, he was able to go in those last minute or two and really put the stamp on it to get him the win. That's what champions do. Champions obviously always look for the finish, but with a guy like Darren Till, who's not going to go away, at least not very easily, you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to win. And that's what Whittaker did. Whittaker, when he was tired and cut and hurt, he went in there and he secured those last 2 takedowns to win the fight. I mean, you can't speak to it enough.
So this is what I've been seeing is that they're going Whittaker Hermanson, and I'm kind of hype about that fight because I want to see Whittaker's true wrestling ability in that fight because that's exactly what he's going to have to do.
Right. And see, what I think is going to happen is we're going to have the Hermanson versus Whittaker fight. I think Cannonier is going to fight the winner of the Costa Adesanya fight. And then from there, the winner of the Hermanson fight is going to fight the winner of all that, those three guys. But the thing I want to see, I think Whittaker beats Hermanson. I think Adesanya beats Costa. I think Adesanya beats Cannonier. I want to see Rob get back in there with Izzy and do what he did to Darren. Use the leg kick. Really don't try and he got too relaxed in that fight with Israel. For some reason he didn't respect Izzy's power and he got lit up for it. I'd like to see Rob incorporate the wrestling and the blitz style a little bit more with Izzy if they fight again. Do I think he wins? No, but I would like to see it again.
I think that's what I don't know with Whittaker, man. He really doesn't use his wrestling as much as I would think he would.
But my thing with him is he could eat bombs from Yoel Romero for 10 rounds. But Izzy puts him down in round 2.
Yeah, but Izzy's that man, though. Izzy's a striker, and he hit him on the button. He hit him in that one little spot. Yoel's just throwing power, man. He's just yamming them punches.
He hits like a truck.
But Izzy will put it on the button. He collapsed him. I think that fight, Whittaker, Izzy, is going to go the same exact way any other time they fight. Because watching this fight, he got lit up by Till, and I feel like Izzy is 10 times more technical than Till.
I feel like Till would give Izzy a better fight than Whittaker would, though.
Well, yeah, Till don't have to worry about the takedown. It's going to be a straight stand-up fight.
Right.
And I do think Till would still get pieced up.
Well, I agree, but I think it would be a better fight.
Izzy's nasty, bro. I'm excited for Izzy Costa because I want to see how that fight's going to go. Costa's
huge.
Costa's
huge.
Big.
He's first team all body.
First team all steroid use.
I would like to look like that.
Yeah, homie.
I'd go from looking like like the Pillsbury Doughboy to looking like Adonis. I'd be lit.
I wouldn't give you the Pillsbury Doughboy. I'd give you the Michelin, man.
Yeah, you the Pillsbury Doughboy, you short ass. All right, guys.
I wouldn't say all that.
So, yeah, guys, thanks y'all again for tuning in and hanging out with us and really checking out the content again. We look forward to giving y'all the next pre-fight breakdown for the next card. I'm not sure. I'm sure they have a card this weekend.
I think it's Derek Brunson versus I don't know who Derek Brunson's fighting.
Edmund Shabazian. I just said his name a while ago. Yeah, that I can already tell you who I'm picking. I'm picking Edmund Shabazian for that one. But yeah, so we'll give you all the breakdown of the main card of that card as well. And yeah, we're gonna keep coming to y'all with content. August is gonna be hopefully a big month for us, guys. We're definitely gonna be a little more excited because we have a Lafayette boy and Daniel Cormier fighting for the title again.
Louisiana.
Oh no, he's not the king of Louisiana. You thinking that? Daniel? Okay, I guess you could say that. The king of Lafayette though is Dustin Poirier, and Daniel admits that all day long.
That's why Daniel's the king of Louisiana though.
Yeah,
Dustin got Lafayette.
Right.
Daniel's the king of about 99% Louisiana. Dustin got Lafayette. Daniel got about 99%.
Right. So yeah, guys. So we're gonna be excited about that fight, and hopefully we'll be able to get some more fighters on. And yeah, guys, if y'all know any smaller guys, man, like if they're in the BFC or Bellator, I mean, any fighting organization. Well, Bellator is smaller than the UFC, but I'm saying like even the PFL, I don't know what they all are. ONE FC, and there's guys that y'all want us to cover or something like that. I mean, y'all feel free to make suggestions, guys. We may not be able to get every suggestion that y'all make, but we're going to try and to do as much content as y'all guys want to see. And, yeah, guys, so thank y'all again for tuning in. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We look forward to bringing y'all more big news. We look forward to bringing y'all more content. We look forward to continue to make these pre-fight and post-fight analysis videos. I look forward to continuing to get outpicked by this dude over here. And we're going to keep having a good time. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. And
Daryl knows that I'm the champ. And all the cards.
I can't talk shit right now until I start beating you, man. So I'm just going to have to give it to you right now.
He just has to sit here and wallow.
Look, hey, I'm not going to let you get in my head. I'm just going to be like, hey, look, hey, you got me? I'm coming back. I'm working on it. I'm going to do my more research. I'm watching my fights. I'm good, man. I got it. But yeah, guys.
Start dropping self-doubt in them picks.
Yeah, go ahead. Do that.
Mind game.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Y'all keep sharing the videos. Y'all keep letting people know about us. and we're going to continue to get better. We're going to continue to try and improve this show as much as we can. We really want to try and get some things in the work. We're both really busy outside of this, so you're just going to have to give us time. It's going to be a slow process, but we're going to get there, guys. Thanks again. Love y'all. Peace from me. Cannon, if you want to give a little sign out.
Thanks, you guys. We appreciate y'all, and I love you guys. Thanks for everybody that's backing us. Thanks for everybody that's subscribing and liking the video. We make this content for y'all. We love doing it, and for everybody that enjoys watching, we do this for y'all. And
I mean, as y'all can see, as we've been going further and further, we've been starting to get a little bit more personal and just, you know what, let's just have a talking format here because this is a podcast. You know, this is supposed to be just somewhere where we can talk. So we're just going to get to the point now where me and Ken are just going to have the conversation. We're going to try and keep it structured in the sense of just to where we can get through the car without sitting here and talking for 3 hours. We're going to definitely just start getting to the point where it's going to be a conversation rather than this structured show that we were doing before.
So the next video, y'all going to hear about Dan Hardy's situation because we're going to say that for the next video.
Really? I saw something with the Herb Dean thing, but we'll have to talk about it later. So yeah, guys, that'll be a cliffhanger ending here. Tune in for the next video, and we'll tell you about Dan Hardy.
First Herb Dean.
Peace.
Later.